100% spooky, 100% scary. It's the Itty Bitty Knit Kit. Hey there! So today in this video I will be getting into Allie's Itty Bitty Knit Kits from fFive. And so in this video I'm going to break it up into 3 different parts. So first part, I'm going to just open the boxes, show you what's inside. And I'm going to go over some basic knitting. So if you bought these or any of the other kits that are similar, this video will be really good for you and hopefully help you out. Okay, and then in the third part I will assemble them together and then show you the final product. And fFive has a variety of different kits. Probably all saw them if you went there, and you might be wondering, is this for me? Well, then watch this video, see how I do it, and then make your decision if you want to buy it yourself, or if you already bought them. Hopefully I could help you. First up, cute. Rip it all out. Okay, so first I'm going to check out the instructions. All right, cool. So those does show some basics of knitting. Right. I'll go over that in a moment. Now I've got this with my stuffing and my eyes. So make sure I don't lose the eyes. Comes with a needle for sewing the project together. We've got 2 knitting needles and yarn. All right, now we're going to open up the pumpkin. All right, same thing. Instructions again. Yarn and 2 needles. And then here I got my stirrup. Okay, so oh, these are feet, I think. Look at this. Okay, feet, eyes and mouth. That's this, and these things for the feet and the stem. And also this thing, the darning needle. Okay, so the instruction shows you how to make a slip knot. I'm looking at this, especially this part. I mean, like, what? But I know how to make a slip knot, so let me show you how to do that, because not understanding the instructions way, or maybe just the way I do it is different than what they say to do it, but let me show you how I do it. Okay, so because I'm a crocheter, kind of just do it the crochet way by taking like this, and then I take this, and then go like that, and then pull it that way. Right? Now the instructions says make 2 loops. Like that, and then you just take the one loop and put it through the other loop. Okay, so it does make a slip knot. It's huge. Okay. So it's a slip knot there. And with a slip knot, you kind of pull this tail end and it makes it smaller. Or you just pull it and make it larger. That's how you know you got a good slip knot. Then another way to do it, just make that loop and then just grab some yarn like that. You want to leave enough tail so you can kind of sew that tail in and hide the tail. So just take that and we go like that. Okay. Doesn't matter how you make a slip knot as long as you got a slip knot. Alright, so according to the instructions, I think they use the tail end to do the casting. I don't do that. And then also, they do have righty lefties. So their method of casting on okay, so how they show it in the instructions is not how I cast on. There is a way to cast on the way they're showing it. I find what's best is to just take a crochet hook, right? And then I go and I just grab that yarn. And then I take that and just twist it going this way. The needle and then pull it. So just take that. I find this to be the easiest. Just like that. Now if you don't have a crochet hook, just take that other needle. I hold my yarn like a crocheter too. Just kind of stick that in the back, grab that, pull it through. You're just going to take it, give it a twist, kind of like that pulled through there, give it a twist. Put it on the needle, give it a little pull. Show you one more time. These needles suck. I prefer different ones, but I want to use what it came with. There. This. And just to show you, I'm kind of taking that, pulling it down and through there. That's why I prefer the crochet hook over this way because you get fraying. So I'll just go back to this and do my casting. I just use this 3.5 crochet hook that I got in one of these other kits that I got. You know what just came in like this. Or this one. They want you to cast 32 stitches. It's important not to make sure your stitches aren't too tight because you want to be able to stick this needle back here. Right? You don't want it too loose because it'll look messy, not too tight. So you just loose enough so you can stick the needle in. Give it that twist. Yeah, same thing. Give it a twist. Put it on. Tight a little bit just so it's not too loose, not too tight. Just so you can stick that needle in there and keep doing it. Okay. You also want this line on the bottom to be straight, all of your stitches to be even. So just go through it as you go. Just make sure you got a nice little straight line here and make sure it's not all messed up, tangled, going wonky in every which way. Just like. And the casting on process, it's the hardest part actually. And then the first row is the second hardest part. After that, it gets easier, I promise. Okay, these needles are hard to work with because they're plastic and so it's slippery. So if you want to get maybe a different set of needles, I'm just going to do a little measurement to see what size these are. So, okay. Looks like it's this one. That's too small. Okay. All right. So it fits into here, which is 5.5 millimeter. So if you want like wooden ones are the best for beginners because it doesn't slip as easily. So you can go and get a 5.5 knitting needles instead of trying to use the plastic. But I'm gonna use the plastic. Okay. So once you got 32, just make sure they're all nice and even on here. You can just shove them to the back. Just like this. Okay, so I knit continental style. So I just kind of hold my yarn here, hold my needle, hold it with these fingers kind of do more guiding. And of course the yarn around, so let's see. Mix that up like that, kind of down like that. Okay, so we're just working on knit stitches. Don't have to worry about purling or anything. So take this, go into the back, take that, right, there, and then we just knock that baby off like that. So again, to the back. We just go like this too. You just always want to go back and look over and make sure all of your loops are straight. So just kind of go back over and straighten them out because they're going to become crooked as you work. So just making sure those are all straight. And I'm just going to keep on knitting until I come to the end of the row. You could hold your yarn however you want, especially when you're first starting. Sometimes when I'm going slow, this way holding with my fingers is actually easier when I'm going slow, and then when I'm going faster I do kind of hold it more like the crochet way with the finger, just like that. If you're having a difficult time stabbing it, I kind of stab it kind of towards the bottom, where kind of the yarns kind of twist together, so I kind of go in there and then pull it to the back. So I kind of just go in at that bottom part and then it slips right in, and I kind of pull the needle more towards the back. So now we're getting these stitches, should be looking like this. Now that my first row is done, it looks like this. It's gonna kind of like crinkle together because I have to cram all the stitches onto this one needle, but that's okay. Kind of like space them out to look, see how it looks like, and then just cram it back together. For the next row, I'm just going to flip my needle around and do the same thing. And after a few rows, it should start to look like this. There's a tape measure printed out inside your booklet. So I'm just going to take this and measure out my work, and it says it should be 4 inches tall. So I'm just going to line my work up, and it's not quite yet at the 4 inches. I did do the required rows, but since it's not at the right height, I'm going to go back in and just do a few more rows of knitting until I reach my height. When you think of knitting, you probably think of these types of stitches here, which is a stockinette stitch. And so for this, I knit on one side and then I purl on the other side. But with this kit, you're just going to do the garter stitch, which is just knitting in the back. And so when you do that, you kind of get the knit and the purl in different rows each row. So this is how the garter stitch looks, which is different. But for a beginner, you just want to focus on this garter stitch. And if you want to get more into advanced knitting, you can learn more of how to make the stockinette stitch by doing the purls. But for now, let's just stick to this kit at a time. And once I have the height that I need, I'm going to do my cast off. So for the casting off, I'm going to start similar to the knit stitch. I'm going to stick my needle into that back. I'm basically going to knit 2 stitches. I did 1 and now 2. And so now I'm going to flip this back stitch over the front one on here. So stick my needle in here, and then I'm going to flip that baby over. And then I'm going to go back into this one. I'm going to knit 1 and then flip it over. Be careful not to lose that stitch that I need on the needle off the needle, and we'll continue this till I reach the end. If you're having a little trouble with the second part of flipping the yarn over on the second needle, you can also just grab that crochet hook, and we're just gonna do my knit stitch, and then I'm just gonna take my crochet hook and have that help me flip that stitch over it, so that way the hook kind of grabs it. Just makes it a little easier, and there we go. I got a little fraying here, just a loose thread. It happens with certain types of yarn. But just grab that crochet hook. That's going to help me flip it over easier. You can do whatever you find works best for you. Once you get to the end, you're just going to pull that loop through. I'm going to leave a long tail. So that's going to help me do my sewing in and just cut off that end. And I'm just going to thread my needle through here. I'm just going to make like a cylinder cup shape by just folding the ends in here. And so with that, I'm going to sew in these two ends together, and that'll make the cylinder shape. So I stick my needle. So first I'm going to shape it up to look like a cylinder. You can use some stitch markers if you have them to help you. I'm not, just to show you how I work without the stitch markers, but they definitely help a lot. So I just sew these two ends together, and I kind of just take my yarn, go through one end, one side, and then through the other, and keep going down. And once I'm done sewing the ends together, I can just flip it inside out so that way it looks neater on the outside. And so now for the bottom, I'm just going to thread my needle. I'm actually going to weave it, kind of weave it in and out so that way I can just pull the string and that'll tighten it up and close it into a circle. So just in and out through the yarn. I could pull it and tighten it as I go too, so that just makes it easier when I get to the end. I just pull the yarn together and then I just tuck some of these ends in, and I can just close up this circle by just adding a few stitches to help keep it nice and tight and keep that circle, that hole kind of filled in. Now I'm going to just add my stuffing in. I just add the whole thing in. Add all that stuffing into the tube. And then I'm just going to rethread my needle. I'm still going to work with this one. If you ran out of yarn, just take another piece and thread it through. So I'm just going to keep the one that's attached since I have plenty here. And I'm going to just stuff the needle through the bottom and poke it out through the top. And so then I'm just going to do the same thing I did to the bottom. Just weave the yarn through the pumpkin. It's kind of in and out through the top, and then I just pull it through. I kind of just, pull it as I go to make it easier. Then after that, I'm going to take my yarn and wrap it around the pumpkin. And this will help give me the kind of bump grooves around and help shape the pumpkin. And I just stick the needle through the bottom and out to the top. And I just go around the pumpkin again. Stick that needle through the other end. And then back out. And then I'm out of yarn here. So I'm going to pull this through tight and I'm going to grab another piece of yarn. And I'm just going to do that a couple more times again. Well, first I'm going to tie these two together, and then I'll just stuff the yarn in through the pumpkin. going to stick my needle through a different part through that same end and just stuff that knot in. And any of my tails or ends through this project, I just stuff them inside the piece. And so my pumpkin is now looking like this. And so now it's time to just add the accessories. So it's got the feet here. I'm going to take both of my pipe cleaners, straighten them out. And looking at the instructions, it says to connect these and then poke it through the top for the stem. So I'm going to try to shove this through the center. Looks like it's not going to be easy. So I'm just gonna, I don't know, I'm gonna stab a hole with the knitting needle. Hopefully that'll make a nice hole for me. So now let's try to stab this in here. Still not right. Maybe if I bend it. Yep, not working. So I end up wrapping it around the knitting needle, the kind of pulling it through, using the bump part to kind of hold the pipe cleaner, and I did poke it out. And so here is my little stem here, and I got the feet poking out of the bottom. I will mean the legs poking out of the bottom, and then I still have to attach the feet on here. So let's pry them out. Just gonna assume there's little holes, so I figured I would just poke this through the one and then poke it through the other one, and just like that. And I'll twist that little end around the leg, and look how cute. The little feet, the little foot. I'll do the same for the other one as well. And after I put the second foot on, I realized the legs are not, they're not equal, they're not the same size, but you know, one's longer than the other. And I don't care. Maybe I'll make them look a little cute, a little funky. I'm not gonna fix it. For the eyes, I just peeled that back off, and then I'll find a nice place to stick them. And he's so cute. Okay, so here's the pumpkin. It's cute. Okay. Definitely took a while to make. Knitting is definitely not a fast hobby, even with something this tiny. So don't fear, don't worry if you take forever doing this, because it took me forever. Oh, and I forgot this little green part to go around the stem. I just curled it around the knitting needle and just, twisted it on the stem. Moving along to the kitty. So for this, I've already did my knitting. Same thing as the pumpkin, just a little slightly more, less cast on and more to go up on, more rows to knit. And so I just used the tape measure, followed the instructions, and so I got two pieces this time. One's the tail, one's for the body. And then for this, we're just going to open up my instructions. We're going to try to make this cat shape. So I'm going to do the little tube again, and then I'm connect the bottom similar to the pumpkin, but the top part will be a little bit more complicated. So just take this, I'm going to stick them together. So now I have this tube shape. And I'm going to connect the bottom. I'm going to turn it inside out, and then I'm connect the bottom the same way I did the pumpkin. So just weave it in with round needle, going back and forth, in and out. And then I just kind of pull the string through to close up that bottom circle. Kind of just make sure my ends are stuffed inside. And now we got this little tubey shape. I'm going to stuff it up. Stuff it up. I use all the cotton, all the stuffing they provided me. The instruction book doesn't quite make sense when it's doing the top. So I'm gonna figure out my own thing here. Because I know I have these little pointy ears, and then the middle part goes down and in. Right? So I've got little ears. And so we're just gonna take a look here at the instructions. And with the picture, it doesn't make sense how they do it. But I think I'm going to do my own thing by just folding in that center together. And then kind of the ears like this, right? That makes sense? Hopefully it makes sense to you. Kind of just fold that in. I could use a couple stitch markers to kind of, I don't know, help pin them together. And so the ears, I'm going to start with the ears here. Just go in and out. Just go in and out at the top part of the ears. And then when I get to that center part, I'm going to fold the middle part down and kind of sew it that way. So now I'm just going to shape it up, and it's looking like a kitty cat. And I'll add that face to it, and it'll definitely look like a kitty cat. Finally, just add this tail to its behind. Okay, and so now I got my kitty cat, and I got my pumpkin. Yeah, I'm just going to add these two to my Halloween collection, and they're going to just pose for the lovely photo. So thanks for watching, and be sure to check out my other videos. I have an old video where I show you how to make the large pumpkins, and then of course I've got Stitch, Michael Myers, and the Jason Max. Be sure to check all of those out and subscribe, because I've got some more future videos coming up. All right, thank you. Bye.